Hi friends, Krista here. Thanks for stopping by Books and Jams. I'm coming to you today with a relatively quick video. Rick McDonnell, who has been hosting the Booktube spin this year, accidentally posted the announcement of Booktube spin round 3 a month early. So he announced it just the other day, and the spin is happening tomorrow. So I wanted to get my list out there, even though I will have July, August, and September to technically read this book. I just wanted to get the list out there before the spin gets made. So it's official. So I have 20 books here. If you're not familiar with the Booktube spin, it's just a fun way to randomize your TBR. Rick McDonnell has hosted this for 2 rounds already, and he does the spin, and then you have 2 months to read whatever number gets shown from the spin. So the first round, I had to read Life After Life by Kate Atkinson, and I chose to DNF and get it off my shelves, and it's gone. Bye-bye. The book that was chosen for me for round 2 was Sourdough by Robin Sloan, and I still haven't read that, but it's not the end of June yet, so I have a week or so to finish that one. I have 20 books here, 4 different categories of 5 books each. 3 of these categories will help me towards some goals, and the 4th category is just some big books. So the first category I'm going to talk about is Book of the Month picks. So I just picked 5 off of my Book of the Month pile, which is right behind me, although that's going to be moving soon, that I am very interested in reading soon. So I'm just going to give them a number and tell you what they are. So the first one is number 1, Jane Harper's The Survivors. This is going to take place in Australia and be a mystery, and I don't know anything more than that, and I don't really want to. I have another Jane Harper on this stack too, so maybe I'll get her this time around. Number 2, Transcendent Kingdom by Yaa Gyasi. I read Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi and absolutely loved it. I know this one's going to be very different. In this one, we're going to follow a young woman named Gifty, and I believe this is going to talk a lot about science and faith. It's a little tiny book, but I'm just really interested to see what else she can do. I feel like it's going to be a little bit slow-paced, and so I'm a slightly nervous about it, but I absolutely loved her first book, Homegoing, so I'm really excited to read this one. That's number 2. For number 3, I'm choosing The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. And it's about Addie LaRue, who, I forget why, but she makes a deal with some kind of evil god or the devil or something and wants to live forever. He grants her that wish, but a consequence of that is that she will not be remembered. So she can live forever, but nobody's going to remember her until one day somebody does remember her. I have heard actually some mixed things about this, but for the most part, people have really loved it. So I'm interested to read that one. That's my number 3. My number 4, I'm a little nervous about as well. The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. I believe this is going to be a ghosty, thrillery type of book. Not always my cup of tea, but I'm really eager to read it. I didn't think Broken Girls was going to be my cup of tea either, and I absolutely loved it. I loved her writing. I loved how she brought everything together. So I'm interested to read this one. I have heard that people who like Broken Girls tend to not like this one, and people who like this one tend to not like Broken Girls. Maybe I will be the exception that makes the rule, and I'll like both of them. Fingers crossed. That's my number 4. And then number 5, I have The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. And I have not heard mixed things about this. For the most part, I've heard everybody loves it. So very eager to read this one. It's about twin sisters who kind of run away from home. One of them chooses to live as white passing. She's very light-skinned. And then the other is darker skinned and doesn't. And it's how their lives are different. And I believe they come back together at some point. I don't know. So I'm eager to read that. That's book 5. So let's do 6 through 10, these big books. I have 5 huge books here. They're really big, but I think this is the time to spin a 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, because I'm going to have 3 months to read this, July, August, and September. Now I am already reading Les Mis in July, August, and September, which is a huge book, but why not throw another big one in the mix? I've already read over 100 books this year. I'm totally fine to slow down and read some big books. So maybe I'll read one of these. So we have the sequel to Pillars of the Earth. This is World Without End by Ken Follett. My word. How many pages is this one? 900? Nope, 1,000. We crossed the 1,000 mark on this one. 1,014. Oh, so this is book 6 for me. Book 6. Book 7, Stamped from the Beginning by Ibram X. Kendi. I don't think this is quite as many. This is 511. So it looks a lot bigger than it actually is, but the content is going to be heavier, and nonfiction always just takes me longer, but I am very eager to read this one. So this is going on my pile as book 7. Book 8 is Bitter Greens by Kate Forsyth. This was on my first round of Booktube spin books. This one comes in at 492. Again, just slightly deceiving because it looks like it'll be more than 500, but it's okay. It's a big book. I believe this is a retelling of Rapunzel. So this is going to be a Rapunzel retelling. I've heard some mixed things about it, but I am very eager to read that one. For book 9, I have the third book in the Outlander series, Voyager. And I'm really eager to continue with this series. I honestly will probably listen to it on audio if I get this one. But let's see how many pages we've got here. 870. So this one is a bit of a chunker. 870 pages. That's book 9. And then book 10 is another nonfiction. I really need to read some Isabel Wilkerson. She's been all around the last couple of years with The Warmth of Other Suns, which is about the Great Migration. And then this one, which is about the not unknown, but like unspoken caste system in America. And how we see that play out and how did it come about and all of that jazz. And actually, that's acknowledgments. This one is another one that's deceiving. I thought it was such a chunker, but it's by the end of the epilogue, there's a lot of notes. That's why it's actually 388 pages, but boy, does that look big. I'm still putting on there because, you know, nonfiction and I don't always get along. So that's book 10. For the second half of my list, I have all series books. So for the first set of 5, I'm going to do series I've already started. And then the second set of 5 will be series I haven't yet started. So most of these, all but one of these are duology finishers. So 4 of these finish a duology. I've got The Golden Road for book 11 by Ella Montgomery. This is the sequel to The Story Girl, which if you've ever seen Road to Avonlea, that show, I don't know where it was used to be, what station or whatever, but Road to Avonlea was adapted from The Story Girl. So The Story Girl is Sarah, this young girl named Sarah who tells a lot of stories. It takes place on Prince Edward Island and it's Ella Montgomery. So I feel like I'm going to love it and it just looks very summery. That's book 11. Pick that one. Number 12 is Fly Away by Kristen Hanna. This is the sequel to Firefly Lane. And I've heard that I can skip this one. A lot of people really don't like it, but I'm going to give it a go. I tend to like Kristen Hanna's historical fiction much more than her contemporaries, but I still want to read it and knock it off. At least get it started. So that's book 12. Book 13 is the other Jane Harper, and that's Force of Nature, which is a companion. I don't believe it's a direct sequel. Maybe this one is a sequel. I don't know. Aaron Falk is a character who's in The Dry, and I believe he's in this one as well. And it's going to be a mystery set in Australia, and I'm totally here for it. Book 14 is a Christian fiction called A Sparrow in Terrazin by Christy Cameron. And this is a companion novel to The Butterfly and the Violin, which I've read twice and absolutely loved, but for some reason have never read the sequel / companion book to it. It's a Hidden Masterpieces novel, so it's going to have historical fiction as well as art, which I love. So I'm really excited to get to that one eventually. And then 15 is The Warrior Maiden by Melanie Dickerson. Last summer, I think it was, I started back at the beginning of the Hagenheim series. I think this is book 9 in that series. So I read all 8 of the previous ones last summer. So I think there are 4 more, I want to say, or 3 more. So I really need to finish them. This is the next one in that series. It's a YA fairy tale retelling type series. I'm pretty sure this one is a Mulan retelling. All right. And then the last 5 also has some junkers in it. But these are series that I would really love to start. Even though I'm in the middle of a gazillion series, these books are just calling my name. So for book 16, I have another middle grade, The Wingfeather Saga. And this first one is On the Edge of the Dark Sea of Darkness. And I heard that this series just keeps getting better and better and better as you go. I've heard that the footnotes are really funny. This is a fantasy series that I don't really know anything about, but I am very eager to start it. And I love a printed hardcover. They make me really happy. So that's book 16. For book 17, I'm choosing a doozy. Another Robin Hobb. Live Ship Traders trilogy is the second trilogy in her Realm of the Elderlings. I've read the Farseer trilogy and would like to continue with more of her books. So this is a fantasy, takes place in the same world as the Farseer trilogy, but not necessarily the same characters, I believe. And this has 809 pages. Yikes. Book 18, totally different. A historical mystery. Flavia de Luce, I believe, is a child, 12-year-old kid or something. This is The Sweetness at the Bottom of the Pie by Alan Bradley. And it's, 1950 child protagonist. I've heard such good things about this series, and so I would really love to read it. And then for 19, I have Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I love the cover. Our main character is Laszlo Strange. He's been obsessed with finding the lost city of Weep. Somehow this city of Weep got cut off from the rest of the world 200 years previously, and he is determined to find it. And then number 20, I have The Keeper of the Lost Cities, a middle grade fantasy series by Shannon Messenger. This is the first book in the series. I think there are 9, I want to say, or 8, and I've heard really good things about them. So we'll see. Those are my 20 books, and I will let you know in my July TBR which one gets chosen. And that's all. I would love to know if you're participating in the Booktube spin. Go ahead and leave your list or a link to your video. Let me know if you're participating or not, and which number do you hope gets picked for me. I have some that I'm really excited. I want to read all of these, but I have some that I'm more excited to read sooner rather than later. So we'll see what gets picked. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you in another video very soon. Bye.